Hey everybody, Dr. Adam Harcourt here. Today I want to talk about the hormonal side of migraine. I get this question all the time, and a lot of times people say, well, I've been put on birth control, or, if I'm not on birth control or hormones, then I have all sorts of different issues, or I'm afraid to go off of it because then my symptoms flare up like crazy. And the funny thing is, my first thought is, well, if you need hormones to stay not hormonal or moody or have aberrancies in your cycle or things like that, then obviously there's something going wrong in the hormonal system. Why don't we look at it and address it? And so when we do testing, I don't just want to look at what is your estrogen level or what is your testosterone level. We do look at those things. But what I want to look at is the entire system. How is it working together? And are there any areas that aren't converting properly or that are abnormally high or low when they really shouldn't be? And so when we do testing, we actually look at not only the sex hormones, so your progesterone, your estrogen, your testosterones, we also look at the breakdown of the androgens and then also what's called estrogen metabolites to look at, okay, yes, you have the right amount of estrogen, but you're not producing the right metabolites or the right breakdown of estrogen, and that can be causing problems. We also see issues in things like methylation. So if you're not able to get rid of the estrogen that you're producing, that can cause a problem. We also test for stress hormones, so things like cortisol throughout the day, DHEA levels, and all of these things can contribute to migraine, but don't necessarily cause it, just like anything else. So to say that, oh, your estrogen dropped a little bit, that's why you had a migraine, that's not exactly accurate, right? You have to test to see what exactly is going on, why that impacts you, because I have many patients with migraine that say, around my cycle, it really doesn't change at all. It doesn't make a difference at all. So we know that it's not hormones by themselves making this problem. I also don't like to just say, well, it could be hormones, so let's give you some bioidentical estrogen or bioidentical testosterone, or just give you this supplement I heard that was good for it. Because the reality is anything could possibly work, but why not test, figure out what's going wrong, and then apply the appropriate treatment. So for example, many patients that have migraine have these aberrancies in, say, the levels of cortisol or the levels of estrogen or the levels of testosterone. And so instead of just giving those individually, I like to do what's called higher order hormones, work on things that lets the body decide what hormone it's going to produce. So for example, pregnenolone is a hormone that can turn into basically anything, whether it's cortisol or estrogen or androgens. And so sometimes that's a better therapy than just giving an estrogen or testosterone. In other cases, there's no need for hormones whatsoever. And so it's just a simple herbal remedy or a supplement or a dietary change that can help change the pathway that's aberrant or causing the problems that you're having that are accentuating the migraine, more or less. And the other side of it is, if we need to end up doing some type of hormonal therapy, we don't use hormone replacement. We use what's called bioidentical hormones, which are derived from plants. So they're a yam-based hormone. So it's not actually like you're getting HRT. It's an all-natural substance that we use. The other thing I like to stress is that our goal is not to have you on hormones forever, right? I don't want to just put you on something and then you're on it for 20 years. My goal is to try to reset the system as best we can and gradually get you off of these things as diet and exercise and neurological therapies are stabilizing the rest of the body. So again, the reason for the hormonal testing is it can affect not only migraine, but everything else, right? I see hormonal issues that we were doing for migraine, but then we find out, oh, well, I've actually had a little bit of depression, or I've had really bad fatigue for a long time, or female hormone issues with the cycle being too heavy or too light or irregular. All of these things can actually be helped if you correct the imbalances that are going on in the hormonal system, right? We just don't know what it is until we test, and that's kind of the whole point. And so if you have questions about this, I really encourage you to reach out, because there's so many different ways and avenues and things that we can go. But again, for each person, it really goes down to what do you need based on the lab results, and then we can take an approach from there. So if you have more questions, please comment in the comments below or reach out to us. I'd love to answer these questions, because I feel like if you can get your hormones under control, you can get so many things stabilized throughout your life, and most importantly, reduce those migraine days.